Very well, thank you.
What a beautiful garden. It's really nice. Would you mind just going around and telling us exactly what you have and where it is? And it's such a beautiful day. So
I'm glad you like it, and the weather's been kind to us, isn't it? So that makes all the difference. Right, so it's only a small garden, as you can see, but I try to make the most of the small space. And as you can see, I do like flowers and containers, and fuchsias are my main flower that I like to grow. So we'll start with the baskets. I always like to see the baskets hung up with the fuchsias and other flowers. The clematis is nice over the trellis in the spring.
I noticed there's quite a few animals knocking about. I mean, we're not too far away from a mouse, are we?
That's a rat. It's my cat's supposedly scratching post, but he'd rather use my furniture. So it's got a home in the garden.
There's one or two more animals as well.
There's a little rabbit down there, and that cat came from Southend, from a friend of mine in Southend. So I always remember when I look at that.
And there's a frog hiding as well.
Have you found a frog?
Yes.
He might be behind you.
You're right.
Yeah, just these little things, you know, they always mean something, don't they, where you've got them or who's given you them. Nice. This is a Brugsmalia, and its common name is Angel's Trumpet, and they come in various colours. Last year I had a white one, and this year I've gone for the yellow and orange, which I think is quite attractive. It will only last until the frosts, and then we'll start all over again next May with another one, probably a different colour. You normally find these growing in the fields in Spain, Mallorca, Costa del Sol. In the cafes they have them all year round there, but they don't like the frost, so unfortunately when the frost comes that will go.
This one over here is particularly nice. Can you just...
The one on the table?
Yeah, if you could just move around and tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, this one started life with me early this year, and they call it Bunny. And it's a very old fuchsia, is that? I think it was 18 something when it was first recognised, but it's still it's quite a nice flower, and it's still quite popular. It's one of my favourites anyway. And this little tiny one, pretty, that's called Baby Bright, which is really nice. This one's another beautiful fuchsia called Delta's Parade. It's the first time I've grown this one, but I'm really impressed with it, so I'm sure it won't be the last. Beautiful colours and nice shape to it.
What particularly attracts you to fuchsias, Pat?
I think it's the colours mainly, and just the different types that you can get in them. And once you start with them, you're just hooked on them, and you just want more and more different ones.
I was just going to suggest to you that they've actually got a limited colour range. There seem to be purple, red to pink to white, and there's no intermediate.
Well, I'll show you a white and orange one, and that'll probably change your mind.
OK then, Pat, what were you saying about an orange fuchsia?
Right, Mike, this one, that's far away from your orange and your pink and purple, isn't it? That's sort of orange and white, and that's a very pretty one. That's called Lies Unique, and that's an old variety as well, but some of the old ones are still the best. And this next to it is a species fuchsia that is one of the original ones that I believe come from Mark's neck of the woods, from New Zealand. And that's the first time I've grown that, and I'm quite pleased with that. It reminds me of a lilac bush. This one meant to have the shape of a Christmas tree, but the top of it got broken off, so unfortunately we haven't got the top of the tree, but we've got the branches. And the little fuchsias look like little fairy lights that are on the ends of the tree. And very pretty when you can see them close up. They're orange and pink and green and white. And they're meant to look like little fairy lights on the end of it. So that's quite a different one.
So how long have you been gardening then, Pat?
Maybe 10 years that I didn't sort of care for gardening when I was younger. It's something that's come along as I've matured. And really enjoyable, love it.
Just as it happens, Pat, our cameraman's from New Zealand, and I believe that you've got a plant that's native to his country, haven't you?
I believe the species fuchsia, which is right behind where Mark is now, is from New Zealand, and it's one of the plants that started the whole range of fuchsias. From, you know, people who collected plants, went out exploring and collected plants, and then bred them from the original species plants. Doesn't look like a fuchsia that you know of the fuchsias today, but it is a very attractive plant.
I mean, I wouldn't recognise it actually as a fuchsia.
Exactly, it looks quite like a lilac tree, but out of season, doesn't it really? It's the first time I've grown it, and I was introduced to it at a fuchsia nursery. So I've given it a go and I'm really pleased with it. A lovely plant, yeah.
And just over to our left you have a nice little greenhouse.
I have a greenhouse, yes. It's an unheated greenhouse. I have a small paraffin heater, but don't use it very much. There's a few tomatoes in there at the moment, which are ripening quite nicely.
Are all the fuchsias you have hardy?
No, they're not, no. The hardy fuchsias, I have some in the front garden, but all around here they're not hardy. So some of them I will try to overwinter by keeping them almost dry in an unheated greenhouse. But then I'll go to a fuchsia nursery and start again in March.
And I notice, like everybody else, you're troubled with snails.
Slugs and snails, yeah. All shapes and sizes. Go around and collect them. I won't tell you what I do with them, but they keep coming back.